The Stars always keep things exciting for the home fans. A buzzer beater from Thomas Harley in a 4-3 victory over the Devils. Cody Ceci impresses. And is Pius Suter coming to Dallas? Or is he not? That's next.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Never in doubt for the Dallas Stars. Thomas Harley scores a dagger with 3.9 seconds remaining in regulation to stun the Devils by a final score of 4-3. The Stars got a bit complacent in the third period as the Devils came roaring back to tie the game at 3, but the Stars get the job done. And as Thomas Harley said in his post-game presser with ESPN, if they're upset, that's their problem, because the Devils were not happy that an icing was called, which of course led to Harley's goal late in regulation. But that was clearly icing, and the Stars pick up a full 2 points against the Devils. We're going to break it all down. We're going to talk Cody Ceci, and then the potential of bringing in Pius Suter. That was thrown out there in the Twitterverse during the game, and everybody had an opinion. It may not be happening, but I figured we should touch on it, because why not? It's a Wednesday edition of Locked On Stars. Happy to have you here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to all you everydayers out there for joining me every single day. And the playoff push is on. It's going to be a ton of fun. If you're new here, welcome to the channel, and we're glad you're with us. The Dallas Stars got off to another hot start like they did the other night against St. Louis. Wyatt Johnston just turned on the Jets. And this is what makes Wyatt such a phenomenal player. He intercepts the pass from Luke Hughes in his defensive zone, and then he is off to the races. Dougie Hamilton had no chance to catch Johnston. And then the Stars' first shot of the game, a minute and a half in, is a breakaway from Johnston. He buries it for his 22nd of the season. And then the Stars are off and running once again. This game had a similar feel to the one against St. Louis too. The Stars didn't spend a ton of time in the offensive zone for large stretches. They were hemmed in, and Casey DeSmith was brilliant. If it wasn't for DeSmith, the Stars do not win this game. And DeSmith puts up another great game against the Devils. Of course, he made 31 saves in the game returning from the Four Nations break. He makes 25 tonight, but some of them were just high danger looks for the Devils. The Jesper Bratt chance, I believe, was in the first period, and DeSmith was able to get his leg out there, made a couple of important stops throughout the game. And so did Markstrom. Credit to Markstrom, because he continued to make some timely saves on some decent looks for Dallas as well, just to keep New Jersey in the game as well. The Stars had 3 breakaways in the first period. If they cash in on those, it is a complete blowout. But Markstrom was able to hold them in, and the Stars continue to crack away. Labushkin with an absolute snipe in the second period, his first goal of the season. And it had been 147 games since his last goal. 147 games. What a goal, too. I mean, that is a goal scores goal from Labushkin, the snipe to beat Markstrom. And he doubled the Stars' lead at that point. The Devils' power play is what did the damage. They essentially went 3 for 3 because their third goal came with an extra attacker. It was during a delayed penalty, so it was a 6-on-5, and Pesci tied the game late in the third. But they were able to get some traffic in front of DeSmith, which led to 2 of their power play goals, and essentially their third as well. The Stars cashed in on their 5-on-3. That was huge. Their power play looked brilliant tonight. They went 1 for 5, so on the surface, it doesn't look great, but man, they had some really nice looks against Markstrom. Hence hit the post earlier in the second period on one of their man advantages, and then he gets rewarded with the 5-on-3. There was only 25 seconds to go in the second period when the Stars went to the 2-man advantage and they win the faceoff, and boom, again, they're working it down to the goal line, and they're just scorching teams in the middle of the rink right now in that slot area against opponents' PKs, just scorching teams. And Hintz had a couple looks. Johnston had one on one of the power plays as well, but just great puck movement. And then Hintz is able to bury it just right on top of the crease. And that gave the Stars a 3-1 lead. The third period was just kind of moving along. Not a whole lot was happening, but the Devils were pushing, and credit to them to get back in the contest and to tie it at 3. Stars just kind of got caught sleeping for the most part. And if you look at some of the stats in terms of possession, heavily in favor of the Devils in all 3 periods, especially at 5-on-5. But it sort of brings me back to the point I made on Monday's episode following the Blues win. The Stars are just so opportunistic, and they have this elite offense that is rolling right now. If you give them enough looks, they're going to make you pay. And yeah, you may feel like you deserve to win. You had more offensive zone time. Stars have been brilliant off the rush. That's where they did their damage tonight. You look at Johnston's goal to breakaway. Lyubushkin takes a beautiful pass from Robertson. He starts this whole thing on the wall. He hits Lyubushkin, who's cutting through the middle of the rink, and the Stars are off to the races, and Lyubushkin buries it. They're the best team off the rush. They generate the most scoring chances off the rush in the NHL. They don't score the most, but they generate a ton of looks, and that's where they got a lot of their chances tonight. I mean, 3 breakaways in the first period, as I mentioned, and then the dagger from Harley is just great work off the faceoff. Granlund wins the draw, and then Robertson finds Harley, who just has enough room. Great screen in front by Granlund. Harley goes against the grain and completely buries it. Thomas Harley is playing some high-level hockey right now, ladies and gentlemen. He's putting the NHL on notice. He looks like a top 10 defenseman since Miro Heiskanen has left the lineup. He has been brilliant, has just been brilliant. And he said after the game, as I mentioned, if they're upset, that's their problem. He said he was very tired after the game. He's playing a lot, of course, but they need him to, and he's been an animal. He really, really has. He played 25 minutes, almost 26, by far the most of any other Star. Lindell only played 21 minutes. It would have had some more if the Stars power play didn't get scored on a couple of times, but Harley was great. A goal and an assist tonight. The Stars top line cashed in on the power play. It was interesting. Stankoven started on the top line. After the first period, Maverick Bourque jumped up and was the right winger for that line, as the trio had some issues in their own zone. So they're still experimenting with Bourque and Stankoven. And I do have some thoughts about Pius Suter and why the Stars could potentially be interested if that's happening, but we'll get to that in a moment, because as of right now, there is nothing set in stone. But hence, Johnston, Robertson, your top 3 Stars, according to Hockey Stat Cards. No surprise there. Lindell, Harley, Lyubushkin, right behind him. Stars' best players are playing their best. Of course, without Dougie Hamilton for New Jersey, he left the game early. That was a tough blow. They were playing with 5 defensemen the whole night, and of course, they lost Jack Hughes. So they were down and shorthanded a bit. They did an excellent job to fight back. It almost feels unfortunate they don't pick up a point in the game, but man, they got some great players. Like Heischer's just unreal. Such a great two-way player. He's great on the dots. He picked up a goal tonight, and without Hughes, there was a pretty alarming statistic I found too that was thrown out on X by Dmitry Filipovich. Devils have now played 1,368 5-on-5 minutes without one of Jack Hughes or Nico Hischier on the ice this season. They're scoring 1.49 goals per 60 in that time and getting outscored 52-34, which is not totally surprising and shows how important Jack Hughes is. And I would think with Hamilton missing a significant chunk of the game, he just played under 6 minutes. That certainly did not help. But since Miro's left the lineup, Harley's been amazing. 11 games, 14 points. He's a +5, and he's playing over 25 minutes a night. He's been so damn good. Like just impressive stuff from him. And for him to get the game winner was awesome. I mean, just such a great shot, and what we've sort of grown to love about Thomas Harley. That's who he. I mean, look, I've said this before too. Last season, a ton. Harley's going to be a top 20 defenseman in the NHL at some point, and now you have Miro with him. Like, just the Stars have hit jackpots with these two defensemen, and Harley could very well be top 10 at some point. Like, if you can keep 4 and 55 around, my goodness, like that is some type of duo. You're trotting out in your 1-2 spots or in your two pairings, and they've been paired up here quite a bit this season as they were last year. So Harley's just he's been so good, and maybe I don't give him enough love either, just because Miro's is so spectacular, but Harley is too. And gosh, the power play's been different since he started to be the quarterback. Is that a coincidence? I don't know. Look, it started to turn a page a bit when Miro was in the lineup, but it has taken off since he's been out. And Harley has a lot to do with that because of his just ability and maybe not ability, but his just conscious is to score. He just wants to push the envelope. He's not worried about making errant pass or turning the puck over, and he's got to be responsible defenseman. Whereas I think Miro gets caught in that a bit. Not that Miro can't be an excellent power play quarterback. He can be. A few years ago, he had 40-something points on the power play. So like that is possible. But when you have a threat like Harley who wants to score and be aggressive, you just throw him out there and let him do his thing. Great players will make great plays. And the Stars made enough plays tonight. they made enough, and they win 4-3 in a spectacular fashion. Stars just love to keep things exciting. We called it last year the Stars attack, especially in the postseason. That's just their thing, man. They get a full 2 points, and what a homestand it's been. Already 3 wins here, and now you have a chance to make a homestand great in the next week or so. So some good stuff all the way around. Thought there was a nice physical edge to the game early. Bichel on his return looked nice. Had some solid moments. He snapped a wonderful pass to Dadonov that led to Johnson's second breakaway in that first period. He didn't score on, but Bichel had a just spectacular stretch pass on the stick of Dadonov, and it eventually led. But so, I mean, he sort of brought what you would expect to in a really good win. I want to talk about Cody Ceci a bit because I've just sort of talked about him, or my conversations and discussions around him have maybe been a bit hasty to some degree. So I want to talk about what he's accomplished in Dallas so far and how he's progressing nicely and really just chewing up minutes for Dallas. And he's been good at that. And I think that's exactly what the Stars had in mind for him. We'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started. And there's no better place to get in on it than with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. FanDuel is so much fun, and it's easy to use. And the nice thing about it is you can get paid instantly. Use the app, get in on the action with FanDuel, bet on the NBA, make some money, and cash out. And right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So it's a perfect time to start. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So Cody Ceci was acquired from San Jose along with Kyle Grant. And I was really bullish on Granlund, as you know, and I just had a few thoughts about CC, which I think we're starting to ring true for the most part. I don't think I've been wrong on Cody CC by any stretch. He's a type of player that really needed at this time, and he's serving really well. You just need players like this roster, guys that just eat minutes, and it's awful to take up space to a degree, and that's not what he's doing. It's just innings. You need guys that can throw in and just get the job done. He's a veteran, understands the game, and he's been in his presence so far in Dallas, and they're having him play alongside Harley a bit. I thought he looked really good tonight. Made a couple excellent defensive plays. He tracked back, and I think he caught Hischier at one point. That could have been Lyubushkin, but I want to say it was Ceci. And every once in a while, it makes a really nice outlet pass, and it's just eating up some minutes for Dallas. And he played 19 minutes tonight. And if they can get him up to 20 every once in a while, I think that's huge. Like the Stars need some quality minutes out of their blue line. And it's not always perfect. I have my critiques and criticisms, but Stars don't have a ton of options right now either. I completely understand that. So they have to live with some mistakes. And he's been playing with Bichel too a little bit. They've had him paired with him at points, which I think is a great fit for a young rookie, for a guy like Ceci that's been around the block and can show him the way to some degree, although Bichel seems to be more than comfortable. And he's a guy that can be on the PK too and help you out there. So I just think he's been a really nice fit in Dallas so far. And he impressed me tonight, and he just stood out. And I feel like I needed to dedicate a segment to him and how guys like that are important to your roster, especially since Miro went down and Niels is out for the rest of the season. They needed some relief, and I think he's doing an excellent job. And yeah, he's a UFA at the end of the year. He's making 3.25. I'd rather have Cody Ceci, I think, in the future rather than Matt Dumba, if you ask me right now. I think he plays a more substantial role for Dallas. And if you had to keep him around as sort of that sixth defenseman, that forget the word, just totally blanking, but just an escape valve, so to speak, an insurance policy. Maybe that's the phrase I was looking for. I don't think it'd be terrible, and you could probably get him at a cheaper price, a good price next season. So I've liked what he's brought to the table, and I thought he was great tonight. So wanted to shout him out a bit. He graded out pretty decently in the contest. His expected goals against was 0.94. Expected goals, it was 0.61. His expected goals for were 0.32, but that's not what he's going to bring, and that's not what you're expecting him to do. So just I kind of wanted to show him some love, since I feel like I've just been hasty and have had some offhanded opinions on him. And look, it's not perfect. I take a little bit of everything the Stars are doing now with a grain of salt, just because they're I wouldn't say they're world beaters right now. I don't know if this roster can continue to sustain this, but maybe it can. Maybe I'm a bit naive to that, because what they've put together out of the Four Nations break has been special. It really has. So offense is rocking and rolling. Although Casey DeSmith saved the day a bit tonight, and Jake Ottinger was pretty good in the game against the Blues. So maybe they're getting bailed out, but at the same time, like they're just doing what they have to do to win games. And at this point in the season, that's all you can worry about. And yeah, don't apologize for nothing. So thought he was great. So let's get into Pius Suter, since this just kind of came out during the game and I think threw everybody for a bit of a loop. And then I saw that maybe it's not a thing, but Pius Suter from Vancouver, if he does come to Dallas, what would the Stars have to give up? What is the return? And why do you think maybe the Stars would be interested in him? I'll share my reasoning in just a moment. So this was initially reported in, I want to say, the early third period of the game tonight. And this comes from Adam Kierszenblatt. I may have completely butchered the last name, but he covers the WHL and Vancouver Canucks for the Hockey News. And he put this out. So sources have indicated that the Canucks and Texas Hockey are working on a deal for Pius Suter. Dallas is currently playing New Jersey, so a trade might be finalized once the game is done. And then I've seen other reporters say that is not happening, and they're told Suter is expected to be in the lineup tomorrow, so no trade for him is imminent. So maybe we're going to have this discussion, and it means nothing, but there really isn't anything else to talk about. I feel like we covered everything from the game tonight. So let's have some fun. And look, I think Pius Suter would be a really nice fit in Dallas. And I have a few reasonings why I think the Stars would go after him. I have a pretty strong inclination why. So let's just say the Stars are interested in him. Why? I'll answer that first. He's a strong two-way forward that plays a lot of shorthanded minutes, and he's productive at 5-on-5. That's my number one reasoning. He is a depth center iceman. He's versatile that can score at 5-on-5. And I think the Stars are desperately looking for that because they're not getting enough from players like Stankoven or Bork. I don't think they're, content with just waiting for those guys to figure it out. Suter has been really productive at 5-on-5 this season. He has 13 even strength goals, and he's got 23 points. And you look at guys like Stankoven, he's got 8 even strength goals. Maverick Bork has 8. Blackwell has 4, Beck has 3, and I would put Suter a bit above them. They have more offensive potential, and it's always been a good player. I feel like he always stands out when the Stars play him as 2, but they're looking for more even strength goals out of their bottom 6 right now. And Stankoven and Bork have showed glimpses, but they haven't been consistent enough. Suter over the last few years has had some decent numbers. 16 goals this season. That's a new career high. 28 points. He had 14 a year ago as well. And he's cheap. I think he is also a player you could bring in and have a really good shot at signing next year, because Blackwell, you may not want to bring him back. Even you look at someone like Granlund, if you're not able to return him. Suter could be just a nice piece you could keep around for a really, really good number, especially when Dallas is going to have some expensive contracts upcoming, potentially Wyatt Johnston. And he's played the 11th most amount of minutes, his shorthanded time on ice is 2.23. That average is 11th among forwards in the NHL. So it gives him another guy that can be on the penalty kill, but also he's been productive at even strength. And we all know Pete loves to roll four lines and guys that can score and lines that can be productive, whether you're the fourth line or the first. He wants all of his lines to chip in offensively. So I think it would be a really interesting pickup. He's 28 years old. He's Swiss, so maybe it gives Bischel a buddy too. And again, I'm being hypothetical here since this is not confirmed, and there's just all kinds of reports being thrown out there. But it is interesting to talk now for the return piece of the matter. I don't see Bork being included. There were some things in the comments about Bork. I feel like that would be a pretty expensive return, and I just don't see that. Jim Nill would not give Bork for a player like Pius Suter, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. I don't think that would be the case. I don't know a lot of players that Vancouver would want on Dallas. Blackwell, they really want him. Brendan Smith, right? They're not going to really be on unless, with Hughes out and they've had some injuries. I mean, maybe bring Smith, but I feel like it could be a young forward down in Texas. A lot of you put out there Antonio Stranges, even Blumel, who's been great down with the Texas Stars. So, and maybe a pick. The Stars don't have their first two picks next season. They do have their first, second, third, and fourth 2026 first round picks. They have a third 2025 round pick. So, maybe a pick and a young forward could be thrown out there. Strange, a lot of you have put out that name, which I think is a good shout. So I'm curious what the return would be. Again, there's very conflicting reports, and we still have a couple of days before this thing actually wraps up. But maybe there's something there. Maybe there's some credibility to it. But who knows? Who knows? But I thought it was interesting, and I think it would be a great fit. And as I said, he's shown some good numbers at 5-on-5, some of his point production, and he's a two-way center iceman that you could sort of plug into your bottom six here, and kind of go from there. So, we'll continue to monitor that as the story develops. But figured it was worth the conversation since it was put out there in the middle of the game. I was like, oh wow. But nothing confirmed yet, but something to keep an eye on here moving forward in the next couple of days. By the way, I will be on that live stream with Nick Zarias. I'm confirmed for 10 a.m. on Friday. 10 a.m. on 10 a.m. on Friday. I'll be on for about 30 minutes. So he's doing a live stream with a bunch of other Locked On hosts and stuff that will pretty much last till the end of the trade deadline. So be sure to tune into that. I'll give you the exact link and everything as the week goes on. And we'll have some fun on there and talk some trade deadline. And maybe the Stars will make a couple of moves while I'm on as well. But that'll do it for a Wednesday edition of Locked On Stars. Shout out to all you everydayers out there for joining me. Please be sure to subscribe. We're almost 2,500 subscribers, or 3,500 subscribers. Pardon me. That would be an awesome milestone to hit. And it's all thanks to you guys. You all have been phenomenal, and really appreciate the love and support on all the content. Starting to bust out some consistency here recently. So I apologize for being a bit off for a few months, but feeling good recently, feeling real good. And it's been a lot of fun. And this is when the season really gets exciting. So let's continue to have some fun here on Locked On Stars. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, Stars fans. We'll be back tomorrow, of course. Stars have a couple more home games to round out the homestand, and their next one is Thursday on Calgary, or just one more game, against Calgary on Thursday. So here we go. We'll talk about that a bit on Thursday. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. So long, Stars fans.